Okay, this can seem goofy or this will be helpful. It's completely up to you guys, but again, I'm gonna show you everything I do. It may be useful, it may not. But for instance, let's start with human body. So yeah, I'm just gonna start with the quiz and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing for finals. So going into our Exemplify, we have 2 quizzes coming up for chapter 14 and 15, so both of those should be focused on. So, of course, your most important ally before Quizlet, before all of this, is the book. The freaking book. They drilled this into our heads. This is the one thing that they actually definitely get right about absolutely everything, is utilizing the book is always how you'll pass. Look at the book. Use these, answer these questions, study them, review the practice questions that are at the end of each chapter. All of these little boxes and important pieces, read these little parts. Honestly, you could just do that and you'll still do fine. Now, for the added support, of course, for human body, there are, of course, the review materials, which in this case is literally just the PowerPoints, but you can definitely use them. Now, in regards to these PowerPoints, you can download them. They show up, you can download them, or the ones that the teachers give to you as well, and they'll be right there. That being said, on Quizlet, that fun little plus sign, this plus sign, you select flashcard set. You can do study guide or any of those as well, because it'll let you do this. Create them yourself or generate from upload. Granted, you do want to go through them if you generate them from upload to make sure everything's as accurate as possible, because it's AI, it's not perfect. So you go to upload files. It tells you which files that you can upload. It does allow PowerPoint. So we're going to browse those files. Oh, look, the PowerPoint. And these PowerPoints are directly made off of the objectives from the book using the key terms. And it already gets a study guide ready for you to go when you do this. And then you just click generate. Oh, well, what do you know? It's making a flashcard set off of the PowerPoints with the exact key terms you need to review. Okay, so now it has the exact terminology from the chapter, from the PowerPoint, from the learning objectives created directly from Canvas by our teachers. Everything is there. It even has the pictures in here for some of them. And you can adjust it as needed. You can edit them and better for your learning. And then you can click learn, or you can just do the regular flashcards. I always do memorize it all, because that's the point of human body, is memorizing it. You need to learn and understand. Okay, and then it lets you answer the questions. Study of structure. That's anatomy. Oh, look, I did it. And you keep going until you understand. Now, here's the website that I've talked to many of you about called Notebook LM. The PowerPoints, you do have to turn them into a PDF in order to upload them, because it will not upload PowerPoints, but you can turn the PowerPoints into PDF. It'll work the same way. Here's human body. It's got the first several chapters. These are the exact PowerPoints from Canvas, made from the exact learning objectives from the book. Directly from the book is how they made these PowerPoints from the learning objectives. All uploaded directly from Canvas. I didn't create these. This is directly from the resources that we get at school. I can have it create me a study guide if I want to. And it'll do it based off of all of the sources. I can have it create me a briefing doc. But the coolest part is what I've told you guys about, which is creating a podcast, which is why it's called Audio Overview. The Notebook LM is a specific AI for studying, specifically for studying. It only has studying formats. It does not use any other sources, only the sources that you put in there. So it can't give you any false information. It could only use the information that you give it. Here's an example of the podcast. Let me turn this up. So you guys can hear this. I'm going to start it from the middle because it does kind of have an introduction. So let's see.
This can go downhill fast.
Exactly. The powerhouse is the mitochondria, the site of cellular respiration where glucose and oxygen are converted into ATP, the energy currency of the cell. And for you, future nurses, think about how this relates to conditions like hypoxia or ischemia, where cells...
And see, with that, I told the AI when I made this podcast to specifically use concepts in nursing and how it all ties together, and it can do that for you as well. Oh, look, a download button. You can download this, send this to your email, and then you can play it from your phone. And you can listen to it as you're doing laundry and things like that. And most of you already know this. This is Evolve Elsevier. There's a portion called self-study that is not the assignments. It lets you create your own quiz, and I specifically select custom. You can do mastery if there's a problem topic and you really, really want to get a grasp on it. It does help, but the questions are never ending. So I selected custom, and now I can go down and select the specific chapters, which I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here because we've got the exact chapters for 14 and 15 coming up, both of those quizzes. And then I can select however many questions I want. Ooh, 30, let's do that. And then start quiz. Edema, I'm just going to select random ones here. And whatever, just going to go ahead and answer it. And, oh, look, you got it wrong. Here's a rationale of what's right and why that doesn't work for what's wrong. And it explains all of that to you. And if you don't understand, it tells you which page of the book to review this. And not only that, you can take these questions and that information and go into ChatGPT and paste it. And if you log into ChatGPT, well, you don't have to log in, but if you choose to use ChatGPT and you're worried about it giving you the wrong information, don't be. Because right here, this is the exact cited source of our Foundations book and the exact cited source of the Human Body book. You can even add the nutrition book and use the cited source. And I also told it to use other known resources used by healthcare professionals like the National Institute of Health. That is a viable resource used by board certified healthcare professionals, and also one recommended by our professors. And so as I ask it questions, it uses only the information from what it can find relating to my cited sources. And look, it told me where it pulled it from, directly from our book. And look, I put in tuberculosis. I wanted to fully understand what that was. It explains absolutely everything, and I told it to help break it down, not only in Human Body, but how it would work for Foundation. So it explains all of those different parts, signs and symptoms, which you would definitely need to know for nursing, for the foundations of nursing. Diagnosis, what the nurses would end up doing. And these are catered specifically to nursing, what we would end up doing, because I asked it to do that. Questions that trip you up here, you can use in ChatGPT. Or go back to Human Body and use the PowerPoints. Or, again, the book number. Now, just for those of you in nutrition, because you guys are, I'm not in that class right now, so I can't help you that much, but here's what I have from previous. You do have access to finding people who have previously completed the assignments before, and I've shared my nutritional analysis and told people how to utilize that. This nutrition, I'm not sure if you guys have the same, but It has PowerPoint Jeopardy questions and practice questions for each chapter. And of course, again, use your book, and just keep practicing those again and again. And then just do the assignment. That should have, you just do it. You don't want that on your plate during finals. You have to knock those out first. There's a lot of people who didn't listen to me and did it last minute, and it screwed them over in having their time to study for finals. Okay, let's get into foundations real quick. There's a lot going on with that one. Okay, it looks like I scrolled too far. Actually, you know what? Let me scroll too far real quick. If you go to modules and you scroll all the way to the bottom, for those who still don't know this, Prep U right here. Okay, it's just taking a second to load. How am I doing? So it also tells you your weaker chapters, which you should definitely review, and then practice quiz. And now you can specifically select the chapters that are coming up to review for the upcoming last 2 quizzes that we have. Let's just select some random ones from the previous chapters that will definitely be on the higher points of the final because they were after the midterm. You can select up to 4 chapters at a time in bulk. With this one, you do have to select up to 20 questions for these. Okay, I'm not sure if this is right, but this question is regarding the nurse assesses a client who underwent abdominal surgery 72 hours prior and notes that the client has developed abdominal distension. Which further physical assessment will the nurse perform to gather additional information? So if you're just kind of basing this off of what the dean said, it would kind of start out with the nursing process. And before you do anything, you kind of inspect before you auscultate or palpate or do anything else. You want to see what's going on. And so after an abdominal surgery, you do kind of want to check where that incision was for that abdominal surgery for abdominal distension. I mean, the words are repeating themselves for what's going on and where the location is. So you do specifically want to inspect that area, especially the dressing, because it could be an infection and fluid behind the abdominal wall. This may not be correct, but I have a feeling that it might be because, it's in the nursing process. Okay, and then for example, this one, I'm willing to admit it, there's things that I don't know. Suprapubic. I can understand by pubic that it's going to be within that region. Catheter, that's going to be something that's going to be inserted in that area. But I still am not having a full grasp of what that means or where it's located or what it does exactly. So because I already have the book connected to this, which is what the Prep U's are based off of, I have that resource all ready to go in ChatGPT. So I can just kind of put that in here. Let's go ahead and paste that what that is. Okay, and so it's going to explain it to me. So a flexible tube used to drain urine directly from the bladder, unlike a standard Foley, which gets inserted through the urethra. So this one is in that bladder. Let's see here. So we're going to go back to that question. Which statements about them are true? Often preferred. Okay, I'm not really going to look through this, but you can look at this from based off of what I just looked at. They are surgically inserted. That's most likely probably correct. We'll look at this later, but you need to know what things are in order to answer the question. I'm not going to really get into it right now, but that's what you want to do because I didn't know what that is. I needed to go figure it out. Also, there are important ones to remember, like this question. Ms. Holmes specifically said when we were reviewing that nutritional chapter in regards to the TPN to look at that little box for the things that are important about it. And so these select all that apply questions are going to be very important when she tells us to specifically look at those things, because they will show up on the exams. Okay, so see this question, I thought you would inspect first, but it does say auscultate. So you do, if you feel certain about something or uncertain, it does have the explanation of why you want to inspect first, but listen first. I guess because it was already observed that there was abdominal distension. But you do want to open these up. It does show the book reference here, which you can also use in ChatGPT and copy and paste that. But I'm also going to show you the other part about that. And so you can open up all of these. I'm just going to do a few of them at a time. But it does tell you which chapter and which pages to review for those specific questions. So I'm gonna just select these few right now. You can select these questions and answers. I do not use ChatGPT to answer my questions. I will copy and paste the question if I'm not understanding it, or the word that I'm not understanding. And after I answer the questions, then I will highlight and copy with the explanations. And after I make sure that ChatGPT has the right resource, I will paste it in here, enter. And then it's going to help break down each of those questions for me and help me understand what's going on for each one. It'll tell me what the normal ranges are, what I was missing. It'll help explain everything so I can understand these questions the next time I come up against them. And it shows that it, again, used the supporting resource from the book, because it can also use those explanations and pull the resources related to those and the cited sources that I just highlighted. And so it's able to use those exact resources that I shared with it. So as you can see, I copy and pasted the question and the explanations for each to help deep dive into them. And you can tell it how you want it to help you review the question. So I selected that I wanted it in a nursing format to understand how I would do this in the process in foundations. And to understand in now when you do this, you can see the chapter, so you can count how many you got wrong on specific chapters and see which one has the highest amount that was wrong and review that chapter. And then of course you can go back into the book, review these boxes. These are so important, and I keep learning my lesson the hard way. I don't want you guys to have to keep learning that lesson either, but please review these little parts. They are trying to nab us on that, and they have. That's why that last exam had a few people tripped up. Okay, so you can use the PrepU, review those, do a few chapters at a time, your weakest chapters and the most recent chapters, which are going to be a part of the finals and the upcoming quizzes. And again, review that book as you're doing these to help guide you through it, or do it however you want to, but use these resources. Let's see here. So I have all of the chapters uploaded from every single PowerPoint from Human Body, Nutrition, and Foundations. Nutrition is on here because, again, I took that class and passed it, which means you can pass it too, but let's not worry about that right now. Okay, so when you have enough of each of these chapters added in here, if you did them individually, you can always access them individually, but you can always, these three little dots here, click combine. And you can review multiple chapters at once. Let's see here. There should be a negative sign from the one I selected. Okay, and these will be the chapters surrounding those later chapters, because I did put this in order. So I can select more than one chapter to review for this. These are literally the exact upcoming chapters that we have for the last two quizzes. Okay, I'll just select a few of these. We'll scroll back up, and it has all of those Quizlets from each individual chapter. Create a set and then go. And then I can just call this quiz review and create and practice. And it'll take me right in there to reviewing all of these chapters at once and their key terms. Also, for those in foundations who don't have human body, in the NCLEX book that was provided, there would be a code that they told you to set up during orientation. Either time, if you're taking it a second time, you already know. This NCLEX, this was during test success. It's been showed to us 1,001 times, and there's a reason for it, because it does work. I didn't have enough time to do this, which is why I didn't do as well as I wanted to for this most recent past exam. But let's go ahead and check this out. So each of those chapters has a specific point from the exams for its exact content. So as you can see, the chapters are literally right here. So we just did nutrition, oxygenation, vital signs was one of them, infection, hygiene, elimination, that is bowels, and urinary, that's both of them. Oh, and wound care. And so with this one, you can select as many of them as you need. And let's see here. Foundations of care, fluid and electrolytes, acid base. And again, infection control, safety, sleep and rest. These are the exact content names of the chapters in these foundations books, and these are going to be the NCLEX styled questions to help you get a better grasp on what we're going to be looking into, how things are probably going to be for med-surg, and just getting us prepared. And we can use these to review for the exams and also practice for the upcoming NCLEX and just get ready for the next upcoming semesters. And so it gives you a number of questions, and you can begin and review. We have done these a number of times. 7.45, that's alkaline. CO2, 45 and 35. This is a little bit lower, and the lower side means that's alkaline for carbon dioxide. Sodium bicarb, so that's 22 to 26. 20 is lower. For this one, it's the same as the pH balance, so this one is acid. So you guys already know. So this would technically be partially compensated, but it doesn't give us that option, so let's see what it says. Okay, so since the pH and the CO2 are both alkaline, it'll be respiratory alkalosis, which I guess it would be considered compensated. Not fully. I think this would be partially compensated. Fully is when they're in the middle. So we'll go ahead and submit. Let's see what we get. It is correct. And you can click that rationale. It explains everything to you. Oh, and if you look here, this will be really helpful to review labs. It'll help you practice the specific levels that we've learned. Here's the ABGs. And here are some of the electrolytes and other nutrients that'll show up here. Hemoglobin levels. Knowing these levels will definitely be helpful for the exams as well. It's gonna okay, so now for foundations, you literally have the prep use, the rationales, you have the NCLEX style questions, and you can use the exact content that you weren't doing well from the review from each exam once you receive them. And then again, the book, these small little areas, these little reviews here, doing both of those, and then of course reviewing key terms through Quizlet, going back and forth through those, and then help your understanding. If you don't know what it is, you can use ChatGPT. Make sure you tell it to use the sources that you want it to use. and you won't be tripped up. Okay, so again, Notebook LM, I did it for foundations as well. Fluid and electrolytes. It can generate that podcast for me again to listen to if I'm very busy and I don't have time to study at the moment. Having any resource you can is always going to be helpful. Briefing doc, if you're not the best person at taking notes, sometimes I'm not, following some notes, here's the briefing doc. It breaks it down and connects each part in simple words. Helps you get that organized, and it connects it with all of the different concepts. Not to mention, you can tell it to give you practice multiple choice questions, utilizing what for those of you who feel a little bit comfortable or like to pregame before the next semester, if you know that you're definitely going to make it or just want to be prepared, you can go to the syllabi, log in. Of course, go to our Knoxville area. Ignore that. We'll go to the Knoxville area. No matter what year or time you're taking this semester, the chapters are the same. So let's see here. Principles of Pharmacology. You can literally download all of the first several chapters for the first few weeks, or for the first week, which is what I did. You're able to upload them here. I did that. And let's see. Now I can review the beginning parts of second semester before it even starts for that week that we have a break. Whenever I can have it make a podcast. If I don't want to deep dive into it, if I'm taking time to relax, I can at least audio review before we dive into those chapters for the next semester. And again, when you click these are the exact chapters from the book. So you can go ahead and review those first few chapters of the book as well. Okay, so also for foundations, under review materials are, of course, the PowerPoints, the ebook. If you don't want to bring the books with you, you can listen to the recorded lectures as well. Just set your laptop out, start playing that. You don't have to have an audiobook, and listen to those. And then, of course, these pre-lecture quizzes help you get an understanding of what the primary concepts of these chapters are and where to start the review. These are very helpful to start with. And then you go and look at them with Quizlet or directly in the book. And then you can go right into those prep you questions so you have a foundation to start with. I wish I shared it this way at the beginning of the semester, but you're getting it now before finals and before the second semester. Okay, so if I am overstimulated by all of this kind of studying, which is more analytical, I do kind of like to find a more fun format. Like for Dr. Mike, for instance, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. But the thing about it is he's not just reviewing these TV shows or these TikTok videos, but he loves to educate as he does this. So I get to enjoy a fun YouTube video while learning at the same time. So let's take a look.
For us that they're seeing on an EKG a specific rhythm that is signaling that there's not enough oxygen being delivered to some part of the heart. Now, based on where that ST elevation pattern that we're seeing on the EKG, we can decipher or at least point us in the right direction of which artery potentially is blocked and which part of the heart is struggling. But whenever you have a patient coming in with a STEMI, you think about door to balloon time, which is how quickly you can get into the PCI suite where they're actually doing a catheterization. And hospitals are judged on this door to balloon time very strictly, because if it takes you too long, enough of the
See, I'm getting so much information here, and it may not even be what we're reviewing right now, but I can tell you that there are times that I've watched this video and I remembered and was able to answer a question on one of our exams, because you're just kind of listening to this. It's kind of sticks with you in this kind of format. Okay, so in every anatomy class ever, or if you know, you know, but in terms of make it make sense, and you need to see how concepts connect and how things work, and you can see it. When you can see it, it's easier to understand because you're able to label parts. It's like a recipe. how specific temperatures, what makes it rise, the heat, having water, whipping eggs for a cake will make it fluffy, all of those different things, how things interact and affect each other. Anatomy classes, biology classes have all used crash course to be able to see those different concepts. So let's check out the heart. Okay, so in every anatomy class ever, or if you know, but in terms of make it make sense, and you need to see how concepts connect and how things work, and you can see it. When you can see it, it's easier to understand because you're able to label parts. It's like a recipe. How specific temperatures, what makes it rise, the heat, having water, whipping eggs for a cake will make it fluffy, all of those different things, how things interact and affect each other. Anatomy classes, biology classes have all used crash course to be able to see those different concepts. So let's check out the heart.
While pledging allegiance, the heart is actually situated pretty much in the center of your chest, snuggled in the mediastinum cavity between your lungs. It sits at an angle, though, with one end pointing inferiorly toward the left hip and the other toward the right shoulder, so most of its mass rests just a little bit left of the mid-sternal line. The heart is nestled in a double-walled sac called the pericardium.
Now tell me that's not going to help. And also direct nursing resources.
In this video, I'm going to be talking about the fluid and electrolytes that you need to know as a nurse, specifically their causes and signs and symptoms. Now I have a complete playlist that you can access where I talk.
Following that, she also has her own website. She has ABG quizzes. She has NCLEX review. She has all of the formats for you to practice and learning the electrolytes. She has all of those resources. And if you're not sure about her, I'm quite certain that she's the one that Ms. Holmes was recommending in class that day. Okay, so I'm not sure of your study methods or any part of this that will work for you. But let me put you guys onto something real quick. Okay, so for instance, in ChatGPT, I let it know how much time I have left, my current schedule, the resources I'm using, the quizzes that I have coming up. I let it know all about the exact chapters and details. I let it know the finals format, how the Prep U quiz works, the chapters that are going to be on that one, how I spend my day, the study resources I use, and the study methods that I like. And I told it to put it all together, and it created a whole study schedule using my study methods and the exact chapters to help review for upcoming quizzes, the upcoming Prep U exam, and then to begin reviewing for the finals. And then I told it to go ahead and add in 20 minutes each day to review for the second semester. And with that, I didn't review or study the past few days. And I told it, I was like, hey, can you update this? Because I missed a few days. And it was like, all right, bet. And then it made the adjustments that I needed, and it updated my study schedule for me, catered to exactly what I need. For study methods, I use the Pomodoro because you need time to break and have for yourself as you're studying. You need to know when to stop. And the cool thing about the Pomodoro is every 25-minute increment you can use for different study method types. So for the first 25 minutes, I can do a book review of the chapter. Then the second 25 minutes after my first break, I can review the key terms with Quizlet. And then have my break. Third 25 minutes, I can start doing the practice questions with EAQs or Prep U's or the NCLEX questions or the review practice quizzes or the quizzes sent by our professors and review it with those, and then use that ChatGPT to help me understand those questions and get a full grasp. And then The last 25 minutes, round up the things that I wasn't quite comprehending, come back to them, or start to move on to the next section, come back to that the next day, begin reviewing the next few chapters. Now these videos come in different sets of times. Now this is a 50-minute study session with 10-minute breaks, 25-minute with 5-minute breaks, 30 with 10 minutes. Like, it has Hogwarts, it has springtime, it has fall, it has rainy days, it's got Lo-Fi Girl. You can do Pomodoro however you want to. And if you're not sure about this method, ask Harvard. Regardless of that, if you don't want to use these videos, start a dishwasher load or start a laundry load. Those are about 30 to 45 minutes each. Study while those are running. Take your break, take the laundry out, take those dishes out, move them over, put the new dishes in, fold that laundry, put it away, start the next load, start studying again.